There, I'm Nancy Merland with Merland Marketing and Social Media. Welcome, replay viewers. I'm so glad that you're here. And as you can see, today we're going to talk a little bit about, or I'm going to talk a little bit about, hopefully you will comment and let me know your thoughts, but whether or not so much of what you do is about your clients. Is it about you or is it both? And those of you who know me probably know that's a leading statement, and that we're probably going to end up at the end of that meaning both, but I'll explain why. And the reason that I am bringing this topic right now is that I was a part of excuse me, I just had a little choke. Ari Kaplan's, not because of you, Ari Kaplan's virtual lunch today. And if you don't know Ari, you should please look him up. I will tag him after this post. But Ari's been hosting virtual lunches since the start of the pandemic, since the first day of lockdown. And so he's hosted 500 and I don't know, 525 or so virtual lunches Monday through Friday. Not that many Monday through Friday, but that many in total since the pandemic started. So today he had a wonderful guest, Alicia Facone from Jackson Lewis, and she's the director of business development. And we had a great discussion. We talked about a couple different things, but the one that I thought I would share with you, this obviously was unplanned. The one that I thought I would share with you today is that we talked about whether or not communication and getting important news out, as well as developing relationships, is that really about the client, or is it about you as a lawyer, or is it both? Let me break that down a little bit. It used to be that we might have one method of communication. When I was in house at what used to be Baker and Daniels, which is now Faegre Drinker, we had newsletters. We had, I don't even know, and this might be an exaggeration, but it might not be. We had more than a dozen paper newsletters that went out. They were outstanding. They were a collective project by all of the lawyers on a specific team. And that was how communication happened. Obviously, along came email, and then communication began to be streamlined a little bit more. That doesn't mean newsletters went away, it just means they could be communicated differently. And today we have a lot of different options. So our discussion really was about whether or not we should be communicating with clients in different ways. The obvious answer to that, and you are probably way ahead of me and know where I'm going, is that we do need to communicate with clients wherever they are. And let me break that down a little bit more. For those of you who serve lawyers, they are your internal clients. Or if you are a service provider like I am, then lawyers and legal marketers are my clients, and business development professionals are my clients. So you and I have to meet our clients wherever those clients are. We need to meet them where they are. So let's say you have been very comfortable communicating with clients in a specific way. And you tell me what that is. You can type that in the comments, and let me make sure I bring up comments so that I can see when you try to talk to me. And I do appreciate comments. They do pop up here so I can see them. But what you may have been comfortable communicating in a certain way. Well, what has happened in the last handful of years, but particularly since the pandemic started, is that people have discovered, some forced into, some have learned to like, some have learned to love different methods of communication. And all of a sudden, and I know, and I've told you this before, all of a sudden, my phone, my email, text messaging, whatever it might be, started to become a lot busier right after the pandemic started, saying, I'm being asked to provide training to my lawyers for LinkedIn because they can't get in front of their clients and they really need to find additional ways to do so. So, what has happened is that your clients have found themselves in a situation where, and a couple things have happened, where they have started to become fond of different methods of content consumption. And what that also means is that, and we talked about this during Ari's lunch today, what it also means is that their patience and their available time is really different, and they don't have as much time to consume content as they used to before, and they don't have as much patience. So what that means is that you and I have to learn how to communicate in methods that our clients and potential clients, influencers, media, whomever it is we're trying to communicate with, we need to communicate with them in the methods they like. It doesn't mean that if you don't care for that type of communication or you don't feel comfortable with it, that doesn't mean that you need to just cross it off your list and say, I'm not going to do that. We're not going to do that because I don't know how to do that. I'm not comfortable doing that. It just gives me the willies. I don't like doing that. And I don't think we have that luxury anymore. I think what's important is to say, all right, you know what? We have people who now like to listen to podcasts. And this came up during the lunch today, too. So we need to either repurpose or maybe originate content via the spoken word. There are some people who love to listen to podcasts. It can be done casually. They don't have to look at a video screen, they don't have to hold or open up an email that has a newsletter that they have to read through. They can do it passively, yet talk about a gift. And you've heard me say this before, talk about a gift of being in someone's ear for however long your podcasts are. I have one that's 2 to 3 minutes. I have one that's under 10 minutes. And then a lot of my clients produce them between 15 and 30 minutes. So, what a gift to be in someone's ear for that length of time. And as I've said, unless you use the speed controls and speed me up, then it's even shorter. But people love that method. There are people that enjoy watching video. Live video. There are people who like watching pre recorded video. There are people who can't stand to watch video, and so they don't. There are people who will just absorb the written word, and that's it. Maybe that's via blog posts. Maybe that's an article that's printed in one of their trade journals. It could still be on paper or a trade journal. It's just there's a myriad of different ways that people like to consume content. So whether you and I are comfortable communicating via one of those platforms, then we just need to realize that we need to meet people where they are. And when I mentioned at the onset that the same thing goes for uh, our internal clients and those people that we serve within law firms, we need to do the same thing. For example, if I have a client, if you have an internal client who is not comfortable recording on a podcast, yet you and they know that that is an important tool for you, then I need to meet you where you are. I need to help you get comfortable. I need to show you how to do it, maybe coach you through it, be there for several sessions, or your internal person can do this, be there for several sessions to help coach you through what they have first taught you in practice sessions so that you are much more comfortable using that medium to communicate to your clients. So my point here is just what I just said, that what we need to do is to figure out what our clients like to consume, the information. Look at your analytics on your website and on your social media posts. What are people reacting to? What kinds of topics are they telling you in your conversations with them are the most important to them? Just write a laundry list of those and make sure that's what you're communicating. And then create the 2 to 4 to 5, whatever it is you're comfortable with, different ways that you are going to either originate or repurpose that content. It may even be, could even be short graphics that you post that has information. You know, on LinkedIn, we can now upload, not now, we've been doing it for a while. We can upload what is in essence a slideshow, and it's, where people can scroll through a handful of different graphics, almost like a PowerPoint presentation, which is one of your options. And maybe that's how they like to communicate, where you have short bullet points on each slide. There are so many different ways that you can do this. But my most important point to you today is that there are different methods for different people, and it's competitive out there. So I think what I want to make sure you do is to stay open to the fact that you do have clients and potential clients that like to hear from you and hear from others in different ways. So I would encourage you to stay open to those, to say, gosh, I know I need to do that, but if I don't, then I need to ask my internal person or my external person. Of course, I'm happy to help you. This isn't a sales pitch for me, but of course I'm happy to work with you. But many of you have internal people who can provide this type of training as well. And just say, I want to do this. I don't know how to do it. That doesn't mean there's anything wrong with you. It just means you don't do that for a living. There's no weakness there. And just to go about doing that and realizing that your clients like to be communicated with in different ways. And then, you just watch and you see how they consume. And maybe, in conversation, you'll say, how do you like to consume information? What is the best and most effective way that I can get news to you quickly? Is it that I go live like this and just talk casually off the cuff with a note or two about what I want to talk about so that I can get my news out quickest? Or is it much more programmed and planned? I mean, just let me, what is it that you like as a client or potential client? And just meet people where they are. And if you don't have the skills, it's okay. It's okay. You didn't have the skills to be a lawyer when you started either. And you did something about that, something pretty major. All of these things are much more minor. If you can, if you are brilliant enough, and you are obviously, to be lawyers and to have gone through law school to do what you did, you definitely can learn how to use some of these communication tools. I know you can. I mean, I see it every day. I experience it every day. So, just my message to you, just it's both. The answer to that is that it's both. We need to communicate. It is about the clients, but it is about you too. It is about your comfort level and doing something about that comfort level. If you are comfortable communicating in a specific way, use it, lean into that. Oh, and if you're not, then just ask for help. But we can't ignore these different types of communication anymore. They're just too important to do. And let me check and make sure. I don't want to ignore comments if there are any. But it's been a pleasure, obviously. As I mentioned at the onset, I'm Nancy Merland, the president of Merland Marketing and Social Media and LinkedIn coach for lawyers. And if you have any thoughts to share with me, please leave them in the comments. And because I know a lot of you listen to this, watch these after the fact. And just let me know your thoughts about it. If you have any questions, here are different ways to get a hold of me. My email, obviously, Nancy at merlandmarketing.com. And merlandmarketing.com, obviously, is my website and my blog and access to my podcasts. And then LinkedIn Course for Lawyers is always an option for you to go visit that. That's my cohort-driven LinkedIn course for lawyers that I host online over spread out bite-sized pieces, spread out learning and doing so that you make real progress over a 6 to 8 week period. All right. Thanks so much. I appreciate you being here. You all take care. Bye-bye.